What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to do a comparison of the Takara Tomy MP57 Skyfire with the Fans Toys FT10 Phoenix. So these figures are actually a couple years apart. I was really excited to finally get this. This just came out in January 2023. This one came out way back in 2018 and maybe even 2017 as the first, and it got reissued a bunch of times. So I just wanted to mention up front that for me, the outcome of this comparison doesn't really matter because I'm keeping both of these. I really love both these figures. Skyfire is my favorite character from Transformers, so for me, I want both of these. But as I always mention with these, I try to be as objective as possible, but of course there's subjectivity involved. And I really try to do this to help people decide what direction they want to go with their collection, whether it's buying one or the other, or both of these figures if that fits their collection. So that being said, let's get started. We'll start off with accessories. All right, there are the accessories you get with these two figures, and almost obviously you can see Takara is going to win, but I still want to go through this just so you know what they come with. So they both come with a blaster. Fans Toys one's a little bit bigger, but there you go, nicely sculpted. They both come with the Autobot symbol. Now, the Fans Toys obviously doesn't have the sticker on it. That was something I put on there, but they give you two, one for Autobot and one for Decepticon, so that you can choose what faction. So we'll match those up. You end up with an extra plate here, so I'll just leave that. But they both come with a flight adapter stand. Now this stand fits with any of the standard Takara Tomy stands that have been coming with the MPs. And this one fits with the Galvatron or the Dracula stand that comes with the FTs. And here's what you're left with. Now, the Fans Toys comes with the translucent eyes, if you prefer that, over the metallic. The Takara Tomy comes with this face mask, battle mask, which makes it look like a G1 character. Not quite the same, but we'll count those the same. And here's what you're left with. Takara obviously going to win, but we'll just show you. You get two additional faces, albeit somewhat derpy. You get the two blast effects here, which you can use in robot or vehicle mode. The extra plate here. And then you get the minifigures, which actually are very cool. Optimus, Wheeljack, and Jazz. And then one I don't have even on the screen is this flight stand here. So Takara is going to win easily on excess. All right, now let's talk about the gimmicks on these two. And this is kind of a no-brainer because the Takara has so many gimmicks built into it. They do both have the opening cockpit, but the Takara has several opening compartments on the legs, on the backpack here. They do have the adapter so you can attach the gun in the either robot mode or in the vehicle mode, so it can kind of, you know, look more like the G1 toy. You've got the minifigures that can fit inside. You've got the blast effects. I mean, there's tons of little accents and features that you can use on this guy. You can also swap the backpack to make it look like the G1 toy, basically the split backpack. So we're going to get gimmicks over to Takara. It's kind of a no contest here. All right, now let's talk about the cartoon accuracy. In order to do that, we'll put the G1 image there so you can take a look for yourself. And this one is a no-brainer for me anyway. The Takara nails that cartoon look. That's what they were going for. That's what they always go for. Fans Toys has a more heroic, kind of beefier proportions. And actually, most of their bots do that. They have that beefier look. But because of that, I think the sculpt actually looks better. Especially the face sculpt. I really like the look of the face sculpt on the Fans Toys. It just looks more mature. I don't know how to describe it, but the way they've made it, it really kind of, it looks cool. The Takara one, although it is super duper cartoon accurate, it just looks a little bit goofy, and I think that's something that's very divisive on these two figures. So whether you like it or not, Takara definitely gets the cartoon accuracy, but I'm going to give Fans Toys the sculpt. All right, next we'll talk about the paint on these two. The Takara Tomy, the head is 100% painted, the helmet and the face as well. You have white paint here on the chest, silver paint here for these intakes, red paint here, and here on the chest plate. This whole chest plate is also fully painted white. The legs here, the knees, and then these parts here are painted white. And then this part here is painted in red. And then the stripes you see on the wings and some parts of the backpack, not all of it, but some of it down here and up here are painted. And I believe the red paint here on the stripe and the silver here for the boosters are painted. For the fans toys, the details you see, little accents are painted. The head has painted face, and there's some little, again, silver accents there on the side. You get the blue here on the top is paint, but the helmet itself is unpainted, whereas this one is painted. Coming down, you have the translucent here, but it's a little tricky because there's actually silver paint behind it. So even though it's translucent plastic, behind it is silver paint. Chrome paint inside the chest plate there. Arms are unpainted. Legs are unpainted, with exception to the red here on the sides of the legs. Those are done in metallic red on the FT10. The feet are painted here in this gunmetal gray. Coming to the back, you have the painted red stripes on the wings. You have the painted white stripe on the backpack, painted red here on these boosters, and then painted silver on these boosters. So because of the extra paint on the legs and the chest on the Takara Tomy, we're going to paint over to Takara Tomy, and it is a good quality paint as well. All right, now let's talk about the build quality on these two. And when it comes to build quality, I think there's always this question of, does die cast matter? And actually, both of these figures do have die cast in them. Both the feet are die cast. There is some hardware internally that's die cast. The Takara is actually surprisingly heavy, but weight alone and die cast alone doesn't make the difference. When it comes to transformation and the way it holds together, that's kind of how I consider build. And then if anything is prone to breaking or stressing, that also adds to the build factor. And Fans Toys is definitely a more solid build than the Takara. Especially on the backpack, I think that's where the Takara one gets a little bit loosey-goosey because of the way it's built, some of the transformation, and also the way it comes together in the jet mode is a little weaker. So we're going to give build quality over to Fans Toys. Next, we'll talk about the articulation. In order to do that, we'll articulate each figure individually so you can see how they work. For the Takara Tomy, the head is on a hinged rotating ball joint. So the ball joint actually swivels up and down. So you can get it down to there, up to there, rotates all around, side to side, and you can lift it up and down. The shoulders are on a butterfly joint, so you get them out to there. They go up to there on that same joint, and then separately on the shoulder right there. You can rotate around on this ratchet. Rotation at the bicep. Double jointed elbow gets you the full bend. Rotation at the wrist. In and out movement at the wrist. The fingers are articulated at 2 pins. And then the thumb is also on 2 pins. There's no ab crunch or waist swivel, but you can fake an ab crunch, and I think this was intentional. They put in these hip swivels, and because of that, it looks like he's crunching because his abs disappear. So I'm going to give them that. I think that can count for an ab crunch, but no waist swivel on this. Legs go up to there on a ratchet, back to here, hindered by the backpack, out to the side on a ratchet. By the way, I don't love that outer ratchet. It's kind of too wide. The teeth are too wide. Now this is okay, but the next one out is a little bit wide for me. In posing, it's fine, but when you're just having an A stance, that ratchet is a little too wide. Rotation of the thigh around a universal. Double jointed knee gets you the full bend there, and there's a little bit of a auto-morphing thing with that knee, which is kind of cool. You have an ankle tilt. Now, I missed this in the review. You can't actually pull these down on a slider. It's meant for the Gerwalk mode, but it does actually give you an extra click forward, extra click backwards. You get 2 clicks in each direction, but side to side, it doesn't change anything. Whether you have it collapsed or not, you still get 1 click to the side on each side, but you only get 1 click back and forth. So there you go for the articulation on the Takara version. For Fans Toys, the head is on a rotating swivel, so you get side to side and up and down. You do not get this, you get a rotation, but you don't get the side to side movement because it's not on a ball joint. The shoulders rotate all the way around on a ratchet, up to there on a ratchet, So no butterfly joint and no additional shoulder joint there. You have a single jointed elbow, but it does get you the full bend due to the way they designed it. That little piece, just like the Takara, it disappears inside the arm. Rotation at the wrist, individually articulated fingered at 3 pins, and then the thumb is on 2 pins and a ball joint. And I've always loved these hands. I like the Takara ones too, they did a good job, but these are, you know, some of the best hands in the business. No ab crunch, no waist swivel, nothing here. Legs go up to there, pretty limited there, back to there, up to the side on friction, does not hold a weight. So it's kind of a trade-off. What do? You know, if you put die cast in the leg, you put the ratchets in, but then the ratchets limit your articulation. On this one, they didn't put the ratchets in, but it's loose. So you need a balance there. Rotation at the thigh around a universal, rotation at the knee. Single jointed knee gets you 90 degrees. Ankle tilts both directions, a little bit back. Oh no, you get down, but not too much forward, and then you get a toe tilt. So pretty obvious here, Takara Tomy is going to win due to the double jointed knees, the extra joints here at the shoulders, the extra joints here at the neck. All right, next, let's talk about the transformation and engineering on these two figures. When it comes to transformation, both of them are actually relatively simple. The backpack on the Takara is where I think people run into the most trouble. I did show how to properly transform it in my review, but I think it is probably the more challenging thing. For the fans toys, it's this chest section. Getting that all lined up and properly connected. Because it flops around as you're transforming it, you kind of have to hold it, make sure you, and it's on a thin panel, so you just have to be careful. But they don't, neither of them are really a pain or have a problem transforming. So I'm going to give them a tie-in transformation. I think they're both fine. They're both fun. I actually transform these guys all the time. So when it comes to engineering, though, I have to give it to Takara. They engineered so much stuff into this figure. So many gimmicks, so many additional features to allow this to do additional things that, you know, it's just very impressive, the engineering they did here. So we're going to give that to Takara Tomy. All right, and there they both are in their alt modes. And both of them actually look really good compared to the cartoon with the image there, so you can take a look. They really do nail that look from the cartoon. Slight differences here in the sculpt. Now the Fans Toys, of course, is bigger in length, width, and height, just like it was in the robot mode. So not a surprise there. But overall, the sculpt is very similar, especially from the front. Now, taking a look at the Takara, what I do like about this is you get a lot of play features with this. You get the opening cockpit, this opening piece here, opening side pieces on the legs, and then this piece here. And then they gave you actual minifigures that fit in those places. They're not just useless minifigures, they actually go in there. So it has a purpose. You know, I don't really care about minifigures unless they have a purpose. And in here they have a purpose. But what I don't like about the Takara is this side profile is really kind of messy. There's a lot of gaps here, especially here and here. This one is the most egregious. You know, that one really sticks out like a sore thumb. The back is pretty clean. That looks good. I think that's solid. But it's really that side view. And then the other problem with the Takara is the landing gear don't lock in place. And due to the way it's designed, you put any pressure on it, it just falls down. Or if you roll it too aggressively, it just falls down. So I'm not a big fan of that, but I do like the playability. With the Fans Toys, you've got a really clean sculpt along the side. There's a little bit of gappage back here, but it's really small. It's very clean from all angles, front, side, and the back. The legs are a little bit further apart, but overall the back is really clean and well done. Now, it doesn't have all the same play features. It does have an opening cockpit. You can't really fit anybody in there, but it does have that. And shout out to Donald J, who showed this picture. You can actually open up this panel, which makes up the bottom of the jet. And then you can sort of fake have minifigures going. Now, it doesn't come with minifigures, but you can kind of fake them going in there. And they will actually fit in that little cavity. There's a little cavity there. So I didn't even know that. I just didn't even think to do that. So they do have that front cavity, but they don't have this one or the side ones. They don't have the flight stand. They don't have the blast effects. So a lot of the little play features aren't here. So because they've got the better sculpt and the better landing gear, which, you know, kind of don't fall down, the way it's designed is on an angle, it really can, you know, hold up. But the Takara has better play features and better display factor. I want to give them a tie on the alt mode. I think they both do things well, and they both look really good compared to the cartoon. All right, now let's talk about the cost on these two figures. And the normal way I do this is I look at ages 3 and up to see what their prices are, but this guy has been reissued so many times and the prices have been changing. So I actually went back to my records to see what I paid for the reissue version of FT10. And I paid $250 for my reissue. Not talking aftermarket, just talking retail prices. This one is $270 US retail. So we're going to give cost over to Fans Toys. And the final factor in this comparison is the Members' Choice category, where I ask my members which one they prefer, just based on their own personal preference, no other factors. And you can see there that the Fans Toys is going to win the Members' Choice. So final thoughts on the comparison. You can see the score there, and Takara is going to win this one. And I am kind of surprised. I actually thought Fans Toys would tie or even win. But in this case, they didn't. And where Takara really shined here was accessories, gimmicks, the cartoon accuracy, and the articulation. They really put their all into that kind of stuff, and you get a lot. You know, you get a lot for your money with the Takara. And that's actually kind of surprising to me, because the previous MP, the most expensive MP, was the MP44 Optimus Prime. And now we've got this guy, and I thought for sure this was going to be more expensive because based on the size and the overall what it comes with, but it's actually cheaper. So maybe they adjusted their price point based on the current market. But either way, one thing I wanted to mention is if you don't like the look of the Takara, you know, this super hypertoon look where the chest is a little bit more squished, the face is very cartoon accurate, but it's less mature looking than the Fans Toys, then none of that stuff's going to help you, right? Accessories and gimmicks don't help if you don't like the way the thing looks. Me personally, I like the way it looks. I like both of these. I still really enjoy Phoenix. I think it's one of Fans Toys' best figures ever made, just because of the way it looks. But that's really how you have to decide. Me personally, I'm going to end up keeping both of these. But hopefully I helped you with this review and comparison. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.